we're going to have some essential money talks, okay? Because money makes our world go round, or it makes it go pear-shaped. And you guys are at the best time of your life where you can make a really difference on your financial life now and definitely in the future. So, you know, you guys are in between the ages of what, 18 and 30. Okay, I'm 56, but I feel your age, and I wish I was your age and made the better choices that it took me a while to figure out. So you will get to my age really quickly. So making good decisions now is going to really help you. Okay, so I'm having it Zoom recorded because tonight is actually in my business I run an 8-week course, and it's tonight. And so I did my day class, and I said, okay, tonight I'm doing it face to face, and luckily it's a review week. This is my 3rd week out of the 8, and it's a review week, so they're getting a very basic review of kind of what we've covered already. Plus, you know, yeah, a bit basic here. So we may have people on there, and there's, I think, some YSA that might be joining that as well. So I'm not sure if anybody's needing to be admitted. Okay, this is great. Okay, so tonight you're going to learn how to protect your money from you, because you are your worst enemy when it comes to robbing yourself and stealing. You are your #1 robber. And so we're going to teach you a way to protect your money from you. Okay, so I'm Sherri Dumbrell. I'm from Naranga Valley Board. These are some of my happy spenders. You might recognize a few people in there, maybe one in the room. And so these are people that I help become a happy spender. I am a happy spender. How many here are happy when they're spending? Okay, let me ask the question. When you go home the next day or the next week, are you still happy with what you spent your money on? Okay, that's good. You should be happy with it. I'm a happy spender because I plan my spending. I save for what I want to buy, and then I spend. So I never have regrets. I used to, but I don't have regrets on spending anymore. I love to spend because I know I have the money, and I can do that. So yeah, so I have a business. I've had it for about 5 years, and these are just some of the people that I help. If you want to learn more about what I do and how to become a happier spender, this is my Facebook group community, Happy Spenders Beyond Budgeting, because budgeting it's not like a really good word, okay? When you think of budgeting, you think of restrictions, and I've heard some people say, some more higher income people say, oh, only poor people need budgets. Yet they go to a financial planner to get an investment, and the bank says, sorry, you don't know where you spend your money. And they're like, but we're rich. We make $550,000 a year. The bank says, yeah, but you don't know where your money is going. So why would we give you a loan? So just because you're rich or poor, it doesn't matter. Everyone needs a plan for their spending. So what is a spending planner? So I'm a certified spending planner. That's basically, okay, you've heard of maybe financial counselors. They're usually provided by the government, and you go to a financial counselor if you have a lot of debt and you're close to bankruptcy. Then you go there and they help you file all the paperwork to go bankrupt. That's not a good thing to go bankrupt. Okay, then on the total opposite end is financial planners and financial advisors, and they're the ones that you go to when you have lots of money. Okay, has anyone seen a financial planner or advisor yet? Okay, yeah, there's no age. I would highly recommend going at this age so that you understand and you can see that if you start things now, for those of you who work, you do superannuation, you may be doing the minimum of what your company's putting in, but if you can up that another 5%, you will be sitting really pretty. You won't even notice it because it comes out of your pay, but you will be sitting really pretty for your retirement. So So that's the financial planner. I am not a financial planner. I'm not anything like that. I'm a certified spending planner. So I specialize in day-to-day finances, which there was a big gap. There was really no one who did it. Barefoot Investor, I'm sure you've heard of that. And you can go on the internet and find lots of things about budgeting, but there was no one that actually really helped people with it. How many of you were taught about money in school? Okay, a little bit, okay. But generally, they don't teach you about money. And if they do, it's about Mr. Cred. It used to be Mr. Cred. He was the cool dude. And this was to the younger kids. And he was Mr. Credit Card. And he was cool. And that's what they were teaching, you know, the Dolomite accounts that you might have contributed in elementary school. They were grooming you. The banks were grooming you so that when you got old enough, got a job, guess what? You've been so loyal, putting your little dollars in each, we're going to give you a credit card. And so we have to, what I do is I teach money truths. And unfortunately, a lot of people and companies out there don't tell you the truth. So you have to know that and learn that. Okay, so nobody has money problems on purpose. No one says, okay, I'm going to be really bad. I'm going to get into debt. What happens is you just lose control and overcommit, and without knowing you do it, okay? So some people just don't know what you don't know, okay? And so I'm going to teach you something tonight that you don't know, and knowledge is power, okay? Whenever I work with anyone, I say it is not your fault that you're and it's not that people come to me just about money. I have people coming. I had one, they were both airline pilots. I didn't know someone could make so much in a month. And they only worked for Tiger. And then COVID hit. They had so much debt. And they went from their big amount right down to their 50. And really were hurting. So, but I tell everyone it's not your fault. And I said that to someone once. I didn't even know her. I was working home. Said, it's not your fault. I said, tell me your story. Found out that her mom was a drug addict and used to have her go steal food from the grocery store because she used all her drugs to feed her and her sister. And she struggled with money. And I was so glad that I told her before she told me, it's not your fault. It definitely is not her fault. Okay, she was not taught. And ideally, we should have parents that teach us good money habits, but generally they don't have good money habits. Some do, some don't, because really none of us were really educated in school. So tonight you're going to have I'm going to teach some financial literacy. You're going to have a heightened awareness about your money. So when you go the rest of the week, you're going to probably maybe think a little bit more. You're going to think on the way home, okay, I'm just going to duck into McDonald's. And then you're going to think, that wouldn't be the wise thing to do. But you're still going to duck into McDonald's. But that's still a win. And when I have my classes, we celebrate that. That's at least you thought about it. You didn't follow through, but at least you thought about it. Maybe next time you'll actually not go into McDonald's. So I'm going to get you to think about money. And by doing that, you'll get some quick results. Can I have Regan, you read that?
I urge you to look to the condition of your finances. This is part of the temporal gospel in which we believe. May the Lord bless you to set you houses are important. If you have paid your debts, if you have a cash reserve, even though it be small, and should storms out about your head, you will have shelter for your families and peace for your hearts.
Okay. During COVID, there was a lot of families suffering. Okay. Luckily, the church is they have at least a year savings to support the church. So when COVID hit, they didn't struggle because they had backup money. They had a year's month of our tithing there just in case for those reasons. Okay. So they're prepared, and that's how they want us to be. They had their cash reserve. So again, we weren't taught money in school. I really believe that employers need to teach their people about their employees about money, but generally they don't know about it anyway. And so it's really important. You need to learn yourself. And that's what I do. So there's a financial triangle. There's your foundations, just like with anything. And then there's on top, there's investments and speculative. So your basic foundations are things that you want to make sure you have a plan for. And on your piece of paper, I think some of the questions were that, do you have a will? Do you have, I mean, you probably don't have a will now, but once you get married, you may want to get a will. Especially once you have children, you're going to want to have a will. So if something happens to you, we always update our will before we travel, like overseas. In case something happens, we have someone who can take care of little Christy, who's not little anymore. So now we don't necessarily need a will for our children, but just for the other things, they don't fight over it. So we all want to hopefully get a house. Don't want to rent our whole life. Insurances, a budget, and cash reserve. That's what I basically specialize in. And you have to have those in order to do anything else. Okay. Okay, first question is, where do you want to go? And there were some questions on that. What financially, how do you want to be? Any ideas, any thoughts? What are your dreams on how you want to be financially? You want to be rolling in it, okay. If you're not sure, that's what the second page is for. The second page will say, okay, what you want. And sometimes it's hard to say what you want, but we know what we don't want. So you think of 3 to 5 people that you know. One might be your parents, one might be your colleague, one might be a grandparent, and look at how they are and what their life is like financially, physically, health-wise. And is that what you want? If it is, then you follow what they do. But if it's not, then you know you want the opposite. Okay, so you have to know what you want to be better with money. Otherwise, you will just waste your money the rest of your life and you'll complain because you don't get what you really want because you're living in the moment. So yell out, what's your weakness with spending money? What's something that you spend money on that you think, wow, if I could just wave a wand and it wasn't a temptation anymore? Pardon?
It is.
Oh, okay, yep. Uber Eats, yes. In fact, yesterday, my son, I had a really big morning online, and I was going to go and get myself a salad, a Subway salad, because after the long weekend of chocolate, I thought I'm going to be really good. So I just said, hey, I'm going out because he works from home too. And I said, I'm going to Subway, and usually we swap. He'll go and buy something once a week. And he goes, I said, I'm going to Subway because I don't have the money. Well, he just last week booked a flight to come with me to the States for 5 weeks. So I'm so proud of him. I'm thinking, yes, you can afford it. And I could have been nice. I could have been enabled him and said, oh, I'll buy it for you, but I didn't because he's 28. He needs to learn, like all of us, that if you can't afford something, you're saving for something really good, then we need to make sacrifices. So anything else? Uber Eats? Pardon? Presents? Yes. Yes. We have one of them in our family. KFC. Oh, my. Yeah. So we all have our things that we do without really planning it. Okay. So I talk a lot about money truths. Now, we hear a lot about mindset, about different areas. And I used to teach people about mindset initially at the beginning, but then I realized that when someone sees their truth about their money, that they can or can't afford something, that changes their mindset. They can't be ignorant anymore. Just like someone who joins the church, they can't be ignorant anymore. If they sin in certain areas, they know they're sinning. It's the same with your money. When you know that you can't afford $140 Birkenstocks when you work at Kmart, like I told my daughter, you can afford the $8 Birkenstocks at Kmart. You can't afford the $140 ones. you know, and so once you know your truth and follow it, then that actually changes your mindset. So you need to know your truth, and then you need to be honest. So those are my two biggest things I teach. You need to know what you can and can't afford. And then you need to be honest and not steal from yourself. Okay, that's the stealing. No one is going to come into your home and steal your money. And you may a few times in your lifetime get scammed on your card, and then you have to redo everything. Okay, but that's very little. But the chances of you guys stealing your own money is really high. You'll have these good intentions on January 1st, and then you fall through. Okay, so one of the truths is, and this is, some of you might have heard this for the first time, because sadly, I've had people, they heard this for the first time, is save first, spend second. Say that again. Save first, spend second. Sadly, consumerism is indoctrinating you that you buy now and you pay later. That is so normal. And I'm so sorry for your generation that that is so normal. I remember the first time Afterpay was kind of new, and I was buying my daughter a $4 tea towel. I was looking for a certain tea towel. I found it on Pillow Top. It was $4.50. Yeah, $4.50. And it said, hey, would you like to use Afterpay? That will be $1.25 a week. And I remember thinking, oh, if I can't afford to buy a $4 tea towel, then I don't deserve that tea towel. My daughter doesn't deserve that tea towel. That was like, whoa. So we need to save first. Of course, consumerism saying you deserve this and you deserve this right now. Don't worry about, just put it on Afterpay. You deserve it. You've had a big week at work, but how many fingers are pointing back at them? 3. They don't care about you. They don't really. They're just thinking about their bottom line. So we have to know all the tricks of the thing. Afterpay, this is a cute little video. It's this girl who's going on her first blind date. And she goes, and in the few minutes of the video on the stage, she basically tells this guy everything about her, good and bad. And it was like, he's like, okay, well, that was going to be a short date. But the ad was kind of saying, you know, don't give it all away at first. Do it a little bit. You know, don't pay them the money for that TV the day you buy it. Just do installments and pay it later. Okay, but of course that's a lie. If we can't afford it, then we don't deserve it. Marijuana, or Afterpay is like marijuana. Okay, so if you can be really good and you think, oh, it's only this much. Oh, it's only this much. But then you get them all added up. And I had one person who had $1,800 a month on debt. Repayment. That was lots of little $10 things, lots of them. Okay, cars are one thing, especially people can get in a lot of debt for. And there's just a percentage. Really, it's about 20%. That should cover all your travel costs to do with your car. That's not just buying the car. It's not just the petrol. It's the insurance, the registration, money to replace the tires, things like that. So if you want to be wise, get a reliable car, good old Toyota Corolla, because they last forever. They're cheap to run. Yep, they're cheap to run, and yeah, it's really reliable. So if you have credit cards, cut them up. You do not. Well, no one needs a credit card. Okay, credit cards are bad. Our grandparents didn't even have, you know. Back then, our ancestors, to actually, if they had to borrow money, it was actually looked at as a sin. Now today, it's like our right, our first right to have credit. Yeah.
So I'm against credit cards, but I understand that
it's a lie, and I'll tell you why. Because I had, when I did with the youth, I had a young girl come with me. She's 19. She was on current affair about 2 years ago. I saw her on current affair. I was so impressed, so I Facebook stalked her. And I said, hey, I'm going to talk to some youth. Can you come? talk to them. So she was 19. She had started saving when she was 11, just her money, you know, pocket money. She had a single mom who did not help her. And but she still had fun. She was a gamer, so she would still save up. But she saved her money. She went to the bank at age 18 to buy a home, and they said, "Oh, you don't have enough. You need credit. Why don't you go out and get a car loan?" And she looked at them and thought, "Why would I want to go get a car loan when I'm saving up to get a house?" She said, "No, thank you. I'll just go and save another year." So she went and saved another year, got her 30,000, I think it was, because she bought a home which was close, just over 300,000 on the south side at Logan, and she got her first home. So don't fall into the trap. You don't need to have good credit. You just don't want bad credit. Okay, so just don't have a credit card. And what the banks look for anyway is if you have your spending card and you have one card that you spend everything on, and they see that you're going to McDonald's, to KFC, the banks look at that. They look at your bank account and they see all these things that you're spending and they think, whoa, he's a risk or she's a risk. That's what's going to knock you a loan, not that you don't have credit. You don't want bad credit, but you don't have to have actual credit. You just need money and saving. And so she did it at 19. She's going to be sitting real pretty because she already has equity, or I can't imagine. She's probably got up 200,000 since she bought it and built it. She can now go and get another place. So, yeah. Of course, they want you to get a loan because they're getting interest. So again, you have to think they're not really caring about you; they're caring more about them. Car costs, again, when you buy a car, the actual cost of the car is the cheapest thing. It's all the other things. When I have clients that are 17 years old, and as soon as they get a car, you need an emergency account, or what I call a big federal account, because things happen. I had a kangaroo last year. And I did on the way home from Baskin Robbins, my treat for the week, on Oakley Flat Road. It didn't have insurance. Can you believe it? It didn't have insurance. So I had to pay for it, okay? And so you have to, there's lots of things that can happen with a car, so you have to be prepared. Who would like to read that?
The rituals over the poor and a borrowed slave.
If you owe anyone money, you're a slave. If you owe money if you owe money to your parents, and some of you have probably done that, you are literally a slave. You'll be taking out the trash, you'll be doing all this stuff around the house, plus you'll be paying them back. But if you are to a company, you're a slave because you're going to be paying them a lot in interest over than what you paid. Has anyone heard of Dave Ramsey? He's brilliant. This is a great one to search and watch this video. He talks about debt, and he's a straight shooter. He's kind of like, I say he's like the Elder Holland of the finance world. He tells the truth. He's a Christian, and he's very entertaining as well. He's the one on the right. And so he really puts debt in its place. Okay, are you an ostrich? Do you know how much it costs you to really run your car? Do you have money for the unexpected? If something happens to your car, or are you going to have to go to mom and dad, or are you going to have to go and get a loan or get that credit card and fix it? If you get in an accident and it's your fault, do you have the money sitting there for your excess? Does anyone know what their excess is for their insurance? What? 900, and that's cheap? So you must be over 25? 525. Okay. Anyone under 25, do you know what your insurance is? Okay. It's usually around 1,500. When my daughter crashed her car, and I tell all my kids, do not tail tag. If you tail tag and they stop and you hit them, guess whose fault it is? It's yours. So you have to use your insurance. But before your insurance kicks in, you have an excess. And if you're under 25, they see you as a liability, so they have a higher excess. So it's usually around 1,500. So, yeah. And then my son just got an accident too. He wasn't tailgating. He was on the freeway, merging onto another freeway, and someone decided to back up on the freeway. So there was a 7-car pile. Just unfortunate. But yeah, we need to get our head out of the sand, know what it costs us to live, and know that we need money in the bank for those unexpected things. We need to be self-reliant so that when things happen, we're not stressing. Now, my son, they happen. Say my daughter, as soon as she got a job, she got a spending plan. She bought her own car at 17. She paid it off in 6 months. She had a big bad wolf account, which I'll talk about, which is for those unexpected things. She has $2,000 always in the account she doesn't touch, because when she got in her accident, guess what? It cost her $1,500. At least she had it. Okay, so we need to be self-reliant so we don't have to rely on other people. To understand the difference between needs, wants, and really wants, we all know what a need is, but some people don't, and I have to kind of help them understand what a need is. And getting your nails done is not a need, that's a want. Yeah, there's lots of things, the very basic needs, and a lot of people went to the basic needs in 2020 when they lost their job. And some of you may have done that you went to a very basic. Then we have our really wants. That's what you want. We don't work just to pay bills. We want to do things. And if you don't have a real want or a why, then you will waste a lot of money on what you think you want. And what do you think you want, Regan? You think you want KFC.
Yes.
But you really don't want KFC.
Well, I don't want it.
You know, you want to have a little house that you and your upcoming wife will be able to live in. That's what you really want. But we get so sidetracked with what we want in the here and the now. So we have life and style. Life costs, things we have to have, and then we have our style costs. Now, I go a lot further than just food, shelter, and that. We need to have a rainy day account or a big bad wolf account for those unexpected things. There's some things that you have that you need to replace. We need to think about that. So we have to think about more things before you decide on your styles. So I know that Regan, when they get married, they're going to choose a place that's going to have a minimal rent. They're not going to go to one that's going to cost their dream home that they want to have their kids in, because when that they can't afford it, and same with the car. They'll have they'll want a new car, but this isn't right at the moment. So we have to get our life costs done before our style.
One question. So when would relationships go on? It's not even girlfriend.
It is. Oh, it is. I agree.
What girlfriend do you date?
Yeah. No, it's called creative. You need to. I'm sorry. Yeah, you guys need to be entertained. In America, it's so different. Actually, they really date, and they date a lot, but doesn't cost money. Okay, and like I said, they will take a girl just to go get a 30-cent ice cream at McDonald's. Okay, and that's okay with the girl. And that's okay. They go, it's 50 now. Yeah, no, it's 80. It's 80.
That's way too expensive.
It is.
So you would be like,
yeah, no,
Why don't you just cook at home?
Yeah,
exactly.
Or why do you have to do a date over a meal time? Just do it mid-afternoon and just bring. So yes, but dating is another thing. But you're lucky because at least today, years ago when I was, it was starting to come out when I was where we would each pay our way. Where before that, when I first started dating, no, they would pay. I remember this one guy asked me out. He was a non-member, and he goes, "Would you like to go to the movies?" And we were saying E.T. And he goes, "Oh, guess what? I have $20 to spend." I remember thinking, okay, that's not impressive. Anyway.
how much?
$3.
Oh,
yeah.
He was. And he said, I'll even pay for your petrol because he didn't have a car, he didn't drive.
Oh, that's nice.
So anyway, tithing is an essential. Tithing is an essential. So we need to make sure we do that first before we do anything else. Now, you probably haven't heard this song because this is from the 80s. I hadn't either. I hate rap, but this is a song called The Choice Is Yours by Black Sheep. And the chorus is, you can go with this or you can go with that. You can go with this, you can go with that. Now, in the video, they're talking about drug lifestyle, alcohol, or clean lifestyle. But when I listen to this, it's more the, are you going to buy things here and now? That means that you can't get what you really want in the future. So do you want to just impulse spend or that? And it's quite annoying, but it actually, yeah, when you're shopping, you think, okay, do I need this or do I want that? How many here have a budget? Okay. Okay. Do you like budgeting? Is it a positive thing in your life? Okay, good. It should be. Yeah.
It gets positive once you start seeing your savings.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the time, like when you first start, it's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to share you just a brief, a different way that you can. But anyway, if you're not budgeting, then at least start budgeting. So I stopped budgeting 19 years ago. That's my family, 19 years ago. Little Christy, little Scotty, Kate, and Ben. And because, yeah, I just found it just didn't help us save, because that was our first trip to the States as a family. And then the one below it was 2.5 years ago when we all went to surprise my mom for her 80th. And so I looked for a better way, and that's when I found the spending plan. Now, doesn't a spending plan sound